Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. Today we're continuing my little series where I take a look at decks in Japan, and specifically V-Star cards in Japan, and how they are adapting to the format and the new rotation. I will leave a link down below to the website that I am using, of course, for all of the deck lists. But today we're going to look at Arceus V-Star, which is debatably the best V-Star going into the new format, as Arceus is still going to be as powerful as ever in the post-rotation format. And I want to take a look here at an Arceus deck and a bunch of lists on this website. And Arceus decks are doing well in the post-row format. As Arceus doesn't really get worse, it gets better because the format slows down a little bit and Arceus can thrive, especially without Lugia and Powerful Energy and Yveltal really being a threat anymore. It gives time for Arceus to be good again. So let's take a look at some Arceus variants from Japan in the rotation in our Scarlet and Violet format that are doing well. So first thing we got is the ADP deck here. Now, I'm not too sure about this deck. ADP, of course, the Arceus deck here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Let me see here. Let's zoom in a little bit. But yeah, we got the ADP deck. I think the main purpose of the deck is Pikachu is really good against Lost Box. Lost Box is popular in the new format, and Pikachu can wall it off. The only problem with Pikachu is we no longer have Big Parasol, which is a huge hit for Pikachu, because now Sableye can still body you, and Sableye is very annoying. So Pikachu definitely can help. And hey, if you play against like a Palkia deck, you can also beat Lugia with Pikachu. So the dual purpose of the type is good, and the ability to wall off basics is fine. And there is the Decidueye. I assume the Decidueye is just kind of good against Arceus, which again is still going to be out there in the new format. So if you play against an Arceus deck yourself, you can use the Decidueye against the Arceus deck. So if they're not playing Dunsparce, it comes in handy. It's just a very plain Jane Arceus list, again, using the Flying Pikachu and the Decidueye, like the world's winning list. And then, of course, we have an interesting Arceus Vulpix Klefki deck here. Arceus Vulpix is kind of cool. The ability of Vulpix being able to be immune to Pokemon with abilities is pretty nice. So in matchups where your opponent is just using ability-based Pokemon to attack you, Vulpix can be a really good wall. This deck does have a little bit of control aspects. Again, playing at the Judge, playing the Klefkis to help against Lost Box. It does play Starmie and Suicune. I don't know about the Suicune. The Starmie makes sense, though, as it, is good against Arceus mirror matches, too. As you can use Starmie against Arceus mirror, where they accelerate a ton of energy in play. You can use Starmie to one-shot them back. So some pretty cool options there. A Melanie build of Arceus is clever. Missing out on that Torrent energy can be deadly, but thanks to Melanie, it's not a big deal. Very turbo build too, actually playing Greninja and 4 copies of Trekking Shoes. Another Arceus deck is the Arceus Pikachu Vulpix deck. So kind of combining the best of both worlds. Pikachu, very good against those all basic decks, and then Vulpix, very good against those all ability-based decks. I do like this deck quite a bit. It's already a deck that I've considered playing myself in our current standard format, but in the post-row format, it gets interesting. One thing to note is this list is actually playing Capturing Aroma and Ultra Ball. Evolution Incense did rotate out of the format, and that is one less out to finding an Arceus V-Star. On the turn, you need to find Arceus, and that's where the Capturing Aroma really do come in handy. So really like the idea of playing the Capturing Aroma in the deck, kind of treating it like the Evolution Instance. But again, just trying to be an anti-meta wall deck here with the Arceus. Next up is Arceus Lycanroc decks. We got 2 different builds here. We got one Arceus Lycanroc deck here using the Flying Pikachu, and this one also playing Full Face Guard. There's another tool, too, in the deck. This one, I think, fighting Pokemon take 30 less damage or something. Then, of course, we got another Arc Lycanroc. Just one very straightforward Arceus Lycanroc deck. I like the idea of Lycanroc. Fighting, again, can be okay if you play against Arceus. And Miraidon, obviously, is another big one. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, okay. Forgot about how good Lightning's going to be, too. Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. Lycanroc and Decidueye seem cracked. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, no, Lycanroc's cool. Yet Hunting Claw, too. So in matches where you need to remove Dunsparce, you got Hunting Claw. That makes me like the Pikachu build a little bit more, because against Lugia, you can Hunting Claw the Dunsparce away. Hunting Claw bypasses Manaphy. They get rid of the Dunsparce. They've already used their V-Star power, and then you Flying Pikachu them. That might be the way to beat Lugia with this kind of combo. So I kind of like that. Lycanroc is really clever, though. And again, doing 190 is not bad. 190 is good damage. You one-shot Arceus. You one-shot Miraidon, which is nice. And this build here, very turbo build, 4 shoes, 3 judge, very heavy disruption. So I do like it. I like it. Next up is an Arceus Fire deck here. I really like this build, just kind of relying on the Arceus Fire Energy Acceleration Pokemon alongside the Delphox and the Radiant Charizard. Just a very straightforward build. Opting for just kind of a Delphox Charizard. Not really playing any other Fire Pokemon in this list here. We don't see any, actually interesting. This deck got top 8 in a 128-person tournament. But yeah, there's no other Fires, no Entei, no Charizard V-Star. Just very much opting for the Delphox, which is very interesting. Next up is Arceus Lucario Gallade. We'll kind of get into the Gallade list soon. I'm sure we'll see a lot of that because Arceus Gallade is shaping up to be a legit contender in the standard format. But the Lucario V-Star, pretty good against, obviously, those Lightning decks and the Arceus decks also. So that's why it is playing the 1-1. I don't know if I like Lucario more than Hunting Claw, Lycanroc. So those are kind of your three big fightings. You got Lucario V-Star, you got Decidueye, and then you got Lycanroc. Those are like the three main fighting Pokemon I think people are choosing to pair with Arceus. I don't know if I like the Lucario as much. I mean, look, it's cool, I guess. This list doesn't play Grant, so your one-shot potential is not as high. But you have Aurostar, which is a decent V-Star power, so I don't know. What do you think? Do you like, which fighting Pokemon do you prefer to play? Lycanroc? Would you play Decidueye or Lucario? It's very interesting. I guess Lucario is like a very hard-hitting beat stick. And then, of course, we got a very interesting Arceus list here, using Arceus with Umbreon, Vulpix, and Starmie. Umbreon is not a bad idea because you can play it with Melanie, as it does only need one Dark to attack, so the other colorless energy is provided with Melanie or Double Turbo. I guess the idea behind Umbreon is it does help a lot against the Mew VMAX matchup. Mew VMAX is considered to be a top-tier deck in the rotation, and Umbreon's gusting ability can be very powerful too in a lot of other scenarios. If your opponent's playing a bit of a slower deck, or they're taking time to set up, or you get like an early aggressive gust play, seems pretty good. I like that. The Umbreon definitely seems like a really good partner for all the dark Pokemon you compare with Arceus. Umbreon could be the best partner. You got that Vulpix too for the wall. Cool concept. Got an Arceus deck here. Now this one is just an Arc Bibarel deck, and it's playing a little bit of Klefki. You know, it's got the Klefki, got the Starmie, but it's mostly just an Arceus deck. You got, you know, the 3 Judge, the 2 Chern's Care, you got the Palpad. So it's basically like trying to do the Chern's Care loop strategy, essentially, with this deck from the looks of it. And this deck did get top 16 in a 100-player tournament from the looks of it. Yeah. Very interesting concept. Again, just trying to Chern's Care Arceus, you know, use the Bibarel over playing Gallade to find Chern's Care, which is something we will talk about when we get there. And we got another Fire Arceus deck. Once again, very much prioritizing a thick line of Arceus, a 4/4 line, and including that one of Delphox V and the Charizard, once again, to combine with that Fire Pokemon where you can move the Fire Energy from your bench to your active Pokemon. So definitely an interesting idea there. Especially as water's falling off. Now, this one I like, too. This is an Arceus Toolbox deck if I've ever seen it. We got Arceus Aggron with Hawlucha and Espeon. I like that. So the Espeon, very helpful against Giratina. I'm hoping we see more Arceus V-Star decks with Giratina, by the way, in this video, because I haven't scanned through all the decks yet, but really hoping we see more Espeon, because Giratina V-Star is like BDIF, and you kind of need to counter it, and Espeon can counter Giratina. But yeah, the Hawlucha is really clever. Hawlucha Aggron is a really cool idea, because you don't have Goon anymore, but you can Hawlucha and then finish it off with an Aggron V. So that's a really cool idea. I like that. And then the Aggron VMAX is kind of cool. I don't think Metal hits too much for weakness. I know it hits like Ice Rider, and I don't think Ice Rider's super terrible. It's okay. We've looked at it a couple times, actually, in some of these post-rotation list videos. Then we got another Arceus Flying Pikachu deck. This one, of course, using the Espeon. I like this one. It's a little bit more straightforward. Kind of gets to the point. Just using the Flying Pikachu, using the Espeon, using the Arceus. Does play the Galarian Zapdos. Again, very helpful, potentially against Miraidon. And also in the Arceus Mirror match can be very good. I guess that's kind of the fourth fighting option. We just talked about Decidueye, Lucario, and Lycanroc. But I guess there's Zapdos. The issue with Zapdos is Miraidon has to play Regieleki's down for Zapdos to be good, but you can accelerate to it with Arceus, I guess, so I don't know. Maybe Zapdos is okay. My issue is it's also very squishy. Lucario and Lycanroc and Decidueye have a little bit more bulk to them, so you really force more out of the Miraidon deck, so I don't know. I don't know if you really need Zapdos. I guess Flying Pikachu beats that too, because you can use Flying Pikachu against Miraidon, force him to go Regieleki, Zapdos Regieleki, I guess, or Espeon it. I guess that's not terrible. We got another Arceus Bibarel deck. This one, very much prioritizing just Charizard as your only other attacker. I like this build. Very straightforward, gets to the point. Very just consistent build of Arceus, as you can see, using the Charizard, using the 2/2 Bibarel. The Skewvit to go with Bibarel, where Skewvit lets you go down to like one card in your hand. Very good with Mustard, by the way. I don't know if we'll see any Arceus Mustard decks. Mustard doesn't seem to be that potentially good, but yeah, I do like this idea, playing the Charizard, playing the Bibarel, all that good stuff. Just keeping it very straightforward and consistent. Playing a very heavy line of Judge. When you're playing Bibarel, you don't mind judging yourself. Playing a lot of energy. Keeping it very straightforward and consistent. We got Arc Gallade Moltres. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the new age of Arc Intel. Arc Gallade Moltres is basically the new age of Arc Intel, right? Because you do lose the Inteleon engine, but the Kirlia Gallade engine is kind of the most similar thing to it. Kirlia lets you draw 2 cards. Could be good, could be bad. But then, of course, Gallade gets you any supporter card out of your deck. meaning that you can use Gallade to cherry pick out your Charon's Care. It's not as good as Empoleon because you can't play like Rod and Palpad because you can't get trainers, just supporters, but Gallade does the same thing. And this build using the Moltres. Moltres, very good dual purpose card, very good late game attacker, very good against Mew, and can also knock out those basic EXs like Miraidon in the later half of the game when it comes in clutch. So I really do like this build of Arceus. This is something that I'm actually going to be looking at playing myself personally. I really like this idea of like the Gallade Arceus Moltres engine. Seems very straightforward, very consistent list. Like it's a very straightforward deck, right? You just kind of play the game how you usually played, and then you kind of go in with Moltres in the end game if you see fit. I just really like this build quite a bit of the Arceus Gallade deck. It reminds me a lot of that Arceus Moltres Inteleon deck that saw play, you know, way back in the day. Next up is another Arceus deck using Zapdoses, both Zapdoses. We actually looked at this deck in one of our older videos, so not much more to talk about, I guess. We've already looked at it. Again, using the dual Zapdos to kind of type check the opponent. Another just very straightforward Arceus deck. It's just ditching Charizard altogether, just playing a very thick line of a barrel. The only downside I can see about this deck is, I don't know if it beats Lost Box, but it doesn't seem bad at all. I guess you have a lot of bulk and Giratina. That's kind of the idea. Opting for not reading Gardevoir, though. We have like Acuity and V-Guard. Interesting. Another Arc Gallade. Now, this one doesn't play Moltres, just straightforward Arceus Gallade. Actually, just playing a single copy of Gallade, so a little ballsy there. I guess you do have... I don't even know there's no Pokemon recovery in the deck. Huh. That's a very ballsy idea. I guess Curlia can get the job done anyways. I mean, Curlia likely can find you Charon's Care when you need it also, I guess. Makes sense. I still think you probably want to play Moltres in this deck. I still like the idea of the Moltres Arceus Gallade deck over just straight Arceus Gallade. Then we got Arceus Pikachu. This is very just straightforward. This is like a deck we have right now in our format. I really like the idea of playing heavy Avery, though, because Avery is going to be really good against a lot of decks. Like, you got to think of it. Lost Box will fill their bench up now that Net's gone. Miraidon is going to fill their bench up. Gallade, Curlia, Gardevoir engines are going to fill their bench up. You know, there's more that I can't think of, but they're out there. They're going to all fill the bench up, and that's where Avery's going to be very good. Another Arc Gallade deck. This one does have that backup attacker with the other Gallade. Still, though, I really want to play Moltres, but I guess you have Drapion, but I think Moltres is just a good dual-purpose card. Good against Mew, but good in other matchups, too. Arc Mimikyu. This one actually got... Did it get third place? Yeah, it got top 8. I got the idea. You use Mimikyu, spread damage. The idea of Mimikyu is really smart. Now, there is one downside to this list. There's no Hawlucha. So the idea of Mimikyu is it's very good against Lost Box, okay? So Lost Box doesn't have net anymore, right? Okay, so they can't net their Comfies. They can't net their Cramps. They can't net their Sableye. Meaning that you can just spam Mimikyu and just knock out those Pokemon like there's no tomorrow. Mimikyu's going to be like the new Greedent, new Stoutland for Lost Box. The problem with this is there's no Hawlucha. If I were to play this deck, I would 100% have to... I would play a Hawlucha. I know the Hawlucha can break the prize trade. Your opponent go KO Arceus, KO Mimikyu, KO Hawlucha, but Hawlucha just wins games quicker for you because it allows you to set more damage up. I still think you want to put Hawlucha, but I get the point. You don't want to break the prizes of... You know, you make your opponent... It's basically like Arcdur, right? You make your opponent take, you know, the 8 prizes. I still think you want to play that, but yo, Mimikyu Arceus, that sounds so fire, bro. I love it because I guess it farms Lost Box. I don't know if it beats Giratina, though. Yeah, Giratina's a pretty annoying card. For Roxanne. Wow, I didn't even see that. Got another Arc Vulpix deck using Empoleon. I think it's the first time I've seen Empoleon in Arceus. Now, this is an interesting Arceus deck. I don't know about that. An Arceus deck using a Cleaver with Route over playing a Fighting V Pokemon. Interesting idea. Just play the Umbreon. That's an interesting deck. It got top 8, apparently. Interesting. We got another Arceus Gallade deck. Once again, not playing the Moltres. I still think you want to play Moltres. I've said that before. I'll say it again. We got an Arc Bayonet. This one's really cool. You looked at this too, actually, I think, recently. But yeah, the idea behind Bayonet, you get supporters back. It's a Via Seeker in an ability, so it lets you get back your Charon's Care. Instead of having a Gallade for them, you can Bayonet for them. I do like that idea quite a bit. Bayonet can remove yourself from the board, too, so it can put yourself in a position where, like, you just have an Arceus in play. So it's like, hey, you're trying to sneak around me? No. You just got to deal with the Arceus. There's no Bayonet in play because they're off the board altogether, because it's just literally just Bayonet Arceus. There's nothing else. Got our Gallade. Again, the Alolan Bird is cool. Wrong Alolan Bird. But this one does play the other Gardevoir, like, you know, the Shine Arcana one and the Dynablade Gallade. Again, it's the new age Arc Intel, essentially, right? Another Arc Gallade deck. Yeah, as you can see, they're pretty popular because it's a good deck. It's a good deck. This one got top 4. And this one got top 8. We see another Arc Box deck. This one's a cool concept. Using Leafeon, Mew as its kind of setup engine alongside Bibarel and the Zapdos Drapion. Now, the Leafeon's intriguing, so I got the idea. You can green cells to an Arceus, so you don't miss out on turn energy attachment. I still think you should play a VMAX, like a Leafeon VMAX or a V-Star, though. Not sure about that. There's collapsed, I guess. You can collapse the Leafeon away once you're done with it. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. I don't know. You probably still get away with a V-Star, right? I don't know. There's a lot of fighting. Actually, very committed to the 4 fight energy count to try to attack with Zapdos. Huh. I don't know. You still could probably play a V-Star. You could maybe go like V-Star and then play like Gardenia's Vigor. We got Arc Box again. Arc Box with a lot more counters. We see the Drapion. We see Moltres and Hoopa and Decidueye. Now, Hoopa's cool because it counters Mew, but also Urshifu, which might pop back up in the meta. There's potential for Rapid Strike to be good again, right? Rapid Strike becomes good again. That's where the Hoopa V becomes good, right? Because in Hoopa V, all of a sudden, it's going to start countering the Urshifus and the Mews again, right? Like it did before when Urshifu was like a big deck back in the day, right? After, you know, that Urshifu and Teleon deck did well, Hoopa started to see play again in Arceus decks. And then got the Decidueye. Once again, to kind of counter the Fighting Weak Pokemon. Another Arc Bibarel deck, again, very straightforward build there. Just plain Drapion. Another Arc Fire deck with that fire ability to move energy from your bench to your active. And it does play the Delphox and the Cast Form. So the Cast Form's kind of cool. It's a nice little single prize attacker, I guess. Again, there's a lot of Fire Pokemon you can choose from. Delphox is smart, though. It's literally amazing with Raikou. And then we got Arc Bibarel. Now, this one does play Moltres, so it's not the Gallade engine. Now, Bibarel with Moltres is a little bit sketchier because you don't have the ability to cherry-pick Clara, like with Gallade and Shady Dealings. You have to kind of rely on drawing really well with Bibarel. So I'm not sold on this idea, but you can play Moltres down early if you have to, because if they boss it, you know, they're not directly knocking out your Arceus, which means you're just doing more turns of Arceus, which can never hurt you. So that's probably the way you want to go about it. We got Arc Bibarel again. This one actually opting for a one of Thumping Snore Snorlax. I like that. A big, strong attacker. Another Arc Bibarel deck. Once again, playing that Moltres, which again, I think is really cool. I like it. I like the Moltres in the deck. It's just more awkward Bibarel. Now, this one's spicy. We got Arceus Greedent with a Blastoise and Hawlucha. So, again, very much trying to beat those Comfy decks where you can use the Hawlucha and the damage and the Blastoise. And this got top 8 too, right? You use all these cards to set up damage on Comfies, and then you Toy Catcher them up, and then you knock them out Greedent. Now, Greedent does 30 damage with its attack. However, combine it with a couple Blastoise pings, combine it with Hawlucha, and even Defiant Band, you're able to take knockouts on Comfies with Greedent and take 3 prizes per KO. Really like that idea. Really cool concept. Because Greedent does lose powerful energy, which is a big loss for Greedent if you're trying to pull off those Greedent combos. Another Arc Gallade Moltres deck. Again, I really like this concept. Very straightforward, keeping it to the point. I still like this concept a lot. Only one Moltres over 2, though. A little bit sketchier, but it's fine. We got Arceus Mewtwo Gardevoir. And this one apparently won a tournament. I like it a lot. Now, this deck is kind of cool. I think that it's the new age of Mewtwo v Union Arceus, which could still be an okay deck, honestly, in the format. And I like it, yeah. Being able to use Arceus with Gardevoir is really clever because, you can, Gardevoir can be built up with Arceus, but you can still get into play and exert energy for Mewtwo. You can get Mewtwo into play very easily with Arceus, as Arceus' ability potentially can get you the Mewtwo pieces in your hand to pull off the V-Union in like a single turn almost. So, and you get Gardevoir to it. I like it. Similar concept here. Actually, no, wait, no, I'm wrong. It's Arceus Gallade with the Gardevoir tech card this time around. Another Arc Gallade deck. This one playing a very thick line of Gallade, playing 3 of them. Just an attacker too, I guess, which is another thing to note. And then you got the one of Articuno. Another Arc Gallade deck using the Guardies, all the Guardies. You got the EX and the Shining Arcana and the Articuno. We got another Arc Gallade deck playing 2 Shining Arcana Gardevoirs, so that's kind of cool. Really cool. I like this a lot. Yeah, Arc Mewtwo is something I've actually thinking about post-rotation myself, and I really like the idea of playing with Gardevoir EX, because it's just a way to build up Mewtwo in like a single turn. So instead of Trini Novine, Trini Charge, whatever it's called to it, you can just build it up in a single turn Gardevoir. So you don't have to have it on the bench for a turn, potentially getting bossed. This build actually no hand disruption. This build here, not playing any judges. I don't think the other one played judges either, did it? I gotta see this actually real quick. Nope, no judge in that build. It had the Roxanne, I guess. So you did have that. For potential hand disruption. Got Arc Gallade again. As you can see, there's just a ton of Arc Gallade decks. I like this. See, look at that. Arc Gallade with the Galarian Moltres. Again, I really like this concept. I think this build... If I was to play Arc Gallade, I would play with Baby Moltres. Got Arc Gardevoir Mewtwo again. Really cool idea. Again, no judge, no hand disruption at all, actually. I guess Mewtwo just kind of farms Lost Box, though. Got Arc Gallade again. And that's it. Yeah, that's it for the Arceus deck so far. So yeah, a lot of Arceus Gallade, as you can see. Now, there are a few exceptions. We didn't see Arc Duraludon, which I know we've looked at already, so we kind of include Arc Duraludon. We didn't see Arc Regidrago or Arc Goodra, which are two decks I still think kind of exist in the format, so interesting. But the idea behind Arceus is play with a fighting Pokemon, so you can counter the fighting weak Pokemon, and also play it with Gallade. I really like that. The Gallade Arceus deck is really cool. Again, it's like the new age of Arc Inteleon, and again, I like the idea of Moltres win that deck. So, I don't know. I'm definitely going to look at building that deck myself IRL. But, yeah, Arceus reborn in the standard format in post-rotation. It gets better. The format slows down a little bit, and Arceus becomes probably the best V-Star going forward. I think it's better than Lugia. Lugia's still really good, but I think Arceus is just going to be even better, especially as you can choose what you want to play with. And then the thing I love about Arceus, a lot of people might complain about it. I think it's really cool because there's so many ways you can play. We looked at so many different ideas. We looked at like Arceus, Decidueye, Hoopa, Moltres. We looked at Arc Gallade, Moltres, Arc Mewtwo, Gardevoir. We looked at Arc Vulpix, Arc Pikachu, Arc Mimikyu, Arc Charizard, Bibarel, Arc Bibarel, Arc Zapdos, Arc Starmie. I love it. So much creativity with Arceus. But yeah, let me know down below what V-Star or any card really you want me to look at in the next video in the series here. We look at cards in the rotation, how they're going to be played. And that'll be it. I'll leave a link once again to the website down below if you want to go check it out yourself and see all the decks from the tourneys and stuff. And that'll be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button. And I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.